What to do when you're not in control. Part 1. The illusion of control. There comes a moment in everyone's life when the illusion of control breaks. You do everything right, plan carefully, work hard, prepare for every possibility, and still life surprises you. The relationship ends, the opportunity disappears, the diagnosis comes, the storm arrives, and suddenly everything you thought you had handled falls apart. That's when reality reminds you you were never fully in control. The Stoics faced this truth head on. They didn't hide from it, deny it, or fear it. They learned to live within it. They realized something powerful. Control is not an external condition, it's an internal decision. You can't control the weather, but you can control your attitude. You can't control people, but you can control your responses. You can't control the outcome, but you can control your effort. That's the Stoic way. So this message, what to do when you're not in control, is about how to live wisely when life refuses to obey your plans. It's about how to remain calm in uncertainty, strong in chaos, and centered when everything around you shifts. Section 1. The nature of control. Let's begin with this truth. Control is smaller than you think. Most people believe control means having everything go their way, but that's not control, that's fantasy. Real control, the Stoic kind, begins when you accept how small your influence truly is and how powerful your inner choices are. Epictetus said it simply, some things are up to us and some things are not. That one sentence divides the world, things up to you. Your thoughts, your words, your actions, your attitude, things not up to you. The weather, other people's opinions, the economy, the past, the future. The moment you confuse the two, when you start chasing what isn't yours to control, you lose your peace. But when you focus on what's yours, your mind, your effort, your presence, calmness returns. That's the paradox. You gain control the moment you stop trying to control everything. Section 2. The illusion of control. Modern life feeds the illusion that we're in control. Technology gives us buttons, options, data, everything feels adjustable. But then something happens that no device, no plan, no power can stop, and we realize how fragile the illusion really is. A Stoic doesn't collapse when control slips away because they never depended on it. They train for loss before it comes. They remind themselves daily, this could change, this could disappear, this could end, not to be negative, but to be ready. Seneca wrote, he who expects nothing enjoys everything. When you stop expecting the world to obey your will, you start appreciating what is moment by moment. The illusion of control breaks easily, but the peace of acceptance never breaks. Section 3. When life doesn't obey. Sometimes, no matter how disciplined you are, things simply don't go your way. You'll do everything right and still lose the job. You'll love deeply and still be misunderstood. You'll try your best and still fail. It's easy to become bitter, to say, what's the point? But the Stoic doesn't ask that question. They ask, how can I respond wisely to this? Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. You see, life is neutral. Events don't carry meaning until you assign it. You can call it tragedy, or you can call it training. You can see it as punishment or as preparation. You can't control the event, but you can control the story you tell yourself about it. That's where peace begins. Section 4. The wisdom of letting go. One of the hardest things to learn is the art of letting go. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means giving up the illusion that you can force everything to go your way. You can influence the outcome, yes, but you can't guarantee it. So the Stoic works hard, but releases expectation. They act with excellence, but stay detached from results. They let life flow through them instead of fighting every wave. Epictetus taught, don't seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that they happen the way they do happen, and your life will go smoothly. This is not passivity, it's power. When you stop wasting energy resisting reality, you regain energy to act wisely within it. That's true control. Section 5, the practice of surrender. There's a kind of peace that only comes from surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of alignment. The moment you stop wrestling with what is. You've done your part. You've given your best. You've said what needed to be said. Now you release the rest. That's what Stoicism teaches. Act, then accept. Do your duty, then detach. Give your best, then let go. When you truly practice that, you stop feeling like life owes you something. You stop demanding outcomes. And strangely, that's when life starts feeling lighter. Because freedom begins where control ends. Seneca said, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Likewise, it's not the person with chaos who suffers, it's the person who refuses to accept that chaos exists. When you stop fighting what's outside your control, you gain peace inside it. Section 7, control what's real, your mind. In a world you can't control, one thing always remains yours, your mind. Marcus Aurelius called the mind a fortress. He wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The world can storm, people can change, plans can collapse, but your mind, your choices, your attitude remain yours. The Stoic trains that mind daily through reflection so emotion doesn't dominate reason, through gratitude so disappointment doesn't blind joy, through detachment so loss doesn't destroy peace. The mind is the last stronghold of freedom, the one place no one else can enter unless you open the gate. Section 8, transition. So what do you do when you're not in control? You don't panic. You don't force. You don't break. You pause. You breathe. You remember what's truly yours, your mind, your choices, your actions, your peace. And you stop trying to manage what was never yours to manage. Because the moment you do, control returns not over the world, but over yourself. That's where true calm begins. What to do when you're not in control. Part 2, Staying Steady in Uncertain Times 1. The world has never been in control. The Stoics looked around at their own world wars, plagues, political chaos, and came to a simple truth. The world has never been stable. Control has always been an illusion. What makes modern life feel worse is that we have more information than ever, not more control. You can watch every crisis unfold in real time, but you can't stop it. You can track every opinion about you online, but you can't manage them all. Marcus Aurelius lived this truth every day as emperor. He couldn't control the wars on the frontier or the gossip in Rome, but he could control how he ruled himself. That is still your task today. You can't stop the noise, but you can stop yourself from becoming noise. 2. Uncertainty is life's normal setting. People wait for the day everything will settle down before they start living, but that day never comes. Life will always be partly unknown, so the Stoic learns to walk confidently through the fog. He doesn't demand clarity before he acts. He acts with calm while clarity unfolds. When you accept uncertainty as normal, it loses its power to frighten you. You begin to see every uncertain moment as an invitation to practice presence. You stop saying, I'll be calm when things are stable, and start saying, I'll be stable while things are uncertain. That is Stoic composure, calm in motion, not calm after motion. 3. The pause between stimulus and response. The greatest tool you have in uncertain moments is a pause. Epictetus said, "When something happens, remember, you can choose how to respond." Between stimulus and response lies a tiny space, less than a second. In that space lives your power. Most people live without that pause. They hear bad news and panic. They face delay and complain. They're criticized and strike back. The Stoic pauses. He breathes once before replying. He waits a moment before reacting. That small pause is where control returns. When you own that space, nothing can own you. 4. The discipline of perspective. Step back often. Zoom out. Ask yourself, how big is this problem really? Will it matter next year, next week, tomorrow? Marcus Aurelius used this mental exercise constantly. He imagined standing above the earth, looking down on his worries until they seemed tiny. From that view, insults became whispers, and disappointments became lessons. Perspective is the art of shrinking problems to their true size. Without it, every small thing feels like the end of the world. With it, even big things lose their power to crush you. 5. Anchoring yourself in the present. When control disappears, the mind runs wild, replaying the past, forecasting the future, trying to fix what can't be fixed. The Stoic pulls himself back to now. Right now, what can I do? Right now, what matters? Right now, how can I live with virtue? This moment is always manageable. The next one is not. That's why the Stoics live by the rule, handle what's here. When you feel overwhelmed, name 5 things in your control this minute: your breath, your tone, your posture, your focus, your next action. Everything else can wait. 6. Acting without attachment. Uncertainty tempts people to freeze. They think, if I can't guarantee the result, why try? But the Stoic acts anyway because action itself is his duty. He separates effort from outcome. You do the right thing not because you're sure it will work, but because it's right. You work hard, not because success is guaranteed, but because integrity demands it. When you stop tying peace to results, failure loses its sting and success loses its pressure. You become steady doing your part, letting fate handle the rest. That is true freedom. Effort without obsession. 7. Dealing with fear and anxiety. Fear lives in the gap between what you want to control and what you actually can. Close that gap, and fear shrinks. Seneca said, "Mien, we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most anxiety is imagination rehearsing disaster. When you bring yourself back to the facts of this moment, most of that fear dissolves. Ask, is this happening right now? If it is, what action can I take? If it isn't, why am I carrying it? You can't stop fear from knocking, but you don't have to invite it in. 8. Building a mind that adapts. A flexible mind survives change. The Stoic trains flexibility by expecting life to change and practicing adjustment instead of resistance. Epictetus taught his students to say, "Lead me, Zeus, wherever you will, I will follow without resistance." That was his way of saying, I may not control the road, but I control my stride. Adaptation isn't giving up, it's intelligent survival. You bend so you don't break. 9. Maintaining integrity when you can't control outcomes. When the outcome is uncertain, the only thing that remains fully yours is your character. So the Stoic focuses on being good rather than getting what he wants. You can't always control whether people treat you fairly, but you can control whether you stay fair. You can't always control whether others keep promises, but you can control whether you do. Character is the one form of control life can't remove. Guard it, and you'll never feel powerless. 10. Transition. So when you're not in control, accept uncertainty as life's natural state. Keep a calm pause between impulse and response. Shrink problems through perspective. Focus on the present and act without attachment. Replace fear with adaptability. Protect your integrity above all. The next step, our part 3, will take you deeper. How to endure loss, failure, and change without losing your peace, and how to turn lack of control into personal power. What to do when you're not in control. Part 3, Resilience in Chaos, Turning Uncertainty into Strength 1. The test of character. When control disappears, character appears. Hardship is the world's way of revealing who you truly are. Anyone can be calm when life cooperates. Real strength is shown when life stops listening to you. Seneca wrote, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests the brave. When things collapse, you face a choice. Break or build yourself through the breaking. The Stoic always chooses the second." 2. Pain as a teacher. Pain shows you what still owns you. If loss destroys you, you were attached. If criticism wounds you, you were dependent on approval. If change terrifies you, you were clinging to comfort. Epictetus said, "What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about things." So the wise person studies pain like a map. It shows where growth is needed. Ask every difficulty, "What are you here to teach me?" 3. The Stoic response to loss hurts. Stoicism never denies that, but the Stoic reframes it. Instead of saying, "I lost it," he says, "It was given for a time and has now returned." Nothing you have is fully yours, not people, not possessions, not moments. They are on loan from the universe. Enjoy them while they're here. Release them when they leave. Acceptance turns grief into gratitude. 4. Using failure as fuel. Failure is feedback, not finality. Each time you fall short, life is showing you how to aim better. Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When things don't go as planned, ask, "What can I learn? What strength must I build? What patience is being trained?" Viewed this way, failure isn't the opposite of control, it's the pathway to mastery. 5. Resilience through preparation. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. They imagined problems before they happened so they would not be shocked when they did. You can do the same. Each morning quietly tell yourself, today I may face delay, disrespect, disappointment. Not pessimism, readiness. You can't control the events, but you can control your preparedness. When reality meets a prepared mind, chaos loses its bite. 6. Endurance is wisdom in motion. Endurance is not stubbornness, it's intelligent persistence. It says, "I will keep moving, but I'll do it calmly." You endure by simplifying. Handle what's in front of you. Don't multiply the pain with panic. Rest when needed, then continue. Seneca observed, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." Every step taken calmly through hardship builds the muscle of resilience. 7. Finding meaning in chaos. When control is gone, meaning keeps you steady. You may not control the what, but you can always control the why. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived Nazi camps, said, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." Ask yourself, why am I enduring this? If the answer is growth, love, integrity, or service, then the suffering becomes bearable, even purposeful. Meaning turns chaos into direction. 8. Calm action in unpredictable times. What to do when you're not in control. Part 4. The freedom of letting go. When the last thing you can let go of, the final thing most people surrender, is the need for certainty. They say, I'll be at peace when I know what's coming. But life never signs that contract. The Stoic learns that certainty is not the goal, clarity in uncertainty is. You can walk through fog calmly when you trust your next step. You stop waiting for everything to make sense and start saying, I don't have to control this to move wisely through it. To surrender is not defeat. To let go is not to lose. It's to stop losing energy to what was never yours. Epictetus taught, when something happens, don't wish it to happen otherwise. You still work, you still care, but you release obsession with the outcome. The wave will rise and fall whether you like it or not. The wise surfer learns to ride it, not resist it. 3. Trusting process. Over-prediction control is rooted in fear, fear that things won't unfold as we wish. But the Stoic trades prediction for process. Act with integrity, accept results, adjust, and continue. Marcus Aurelius. If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. The process gives peace because it's always within reach. The future never is. 4. The calm of non-attachment. Attachment says, I need this to feel okay. Detachment says, I'd prefer this, but I'll be okay regardless. You can love people, do your work, pursue dreams deeply, and still keep your identity free. When the Stoic loses something, he reminds himself, it was never truly mine. It was given for a season. That mindset makes you light. You move through change without collapse. 5. Freedom. Through responsibility, letting go doesn't mean apathy. It means redirecting control inward. You can't control the weather, but you can carry an umbrella. You can't control outcomes, but you can show up prepared. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is doing what's right regardless of what happens next. 6. Silence as a form of control. When chaos shouts, silence is sovereignty. You don't need to correct every lie or chase every rumor. You don't need to justify peace to noisy minds. Silence is the sound of someone who knows where real control lives inside. 7. The peace of enough. Most anxiety comes from chasing more success, more approval, more certainty. The Stoic practices the art of enough. Seneca said, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. When you stop demanding more control, you realize you already have enough to live wisely, a mind, a breath, a moment, a choice. 8. Gratitude as grounding. When you can't control events, you can always control your focus. Gratitude turns attention from loss to life. Say quietly to yourself, I still have air. I still have time. I still have choice. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, it widens perspective until pain fits inside peace. Then others freeze or panic, choose calm action. Calmness doesn't mean doing nothing, it means doing the next thing without fear. Break chaos into small, controllable tasks. Breathe. Think. Do the one thing you can. Each small, steady action builds momentum. You don't need full control to make progress. You only need composure. 9. Hope as disciplined Stoics did not rely on hope as fantasy. They practiced disciplined hope, the belief that while the world is uncertain, effort and virtue still matter. Marcus Aurelius, do what is necessary. What the gods will is beyond you. You keep hope alive not by predicting outcomes, but by refusing to let despair decide your behavior. 10. Transition to part 4. So when you're not in control, let pain instruct you, let loss refine you, let failure redirect you, let endurance steady you, let meaning guide you, let disciplined hope carry you. Part 4. The freedom of letting go. 1. The last thing you can let go of, the final thing most people surrender, is the need for certainty. They say, I'll be at peace when I know what's coming. But life never signs that contract. The Stoic learns that certainty is not the goal, clarity and uncertainty is. You can walk through fog calmly when you trust your next step. You stop waiting for everything to make sense and start saying, I don't have to control this to move wisely through it. 2. Surrender is not defeat. To let go is not to lose. It's to stop losing energy to what was never yours. Epictetus taught, when something happens, don't wish it to happen otherwise. You still work, you still care, but you release obsession with the outcome. The wave will rise and fall, whether you like it or not. The wise surfer learns to ride it, not resist it. 3. Trusting process, over prediction, control, is rooted in fear that things won't unfold as we wish. But the Stoic trades prediction for process. Act with integrity, accept results, adjust and continue. Marcus Aurelius, if it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. The process gives peace because it's always within reach. The future never is. 4. The calm of non-attachment. Attachment says, I need this to feel okay. Detachment says, I'd prefer this, but I'll be okay regardless. You can love people, do your work, pursue dreams deeply, and still keep your identity free. When the Stoic loses something, he reminds himself, it was never truly mine. It was given for a season. That mindset makes you light. You move through change without collapse. 5. Freedom through responsibility. Letting go doesn't mean apathy. It means redirecting control inward. You can't control the weather, but you can carry an umbrella. You can't control outcomes, but you can show up prepared. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is doing what's right regardless of what happens next. 6. Silence as a form of control. When chaos shouts, silence is sovereignty. You don't need to correct every lie or chase every rumor. You don't need to justify peace to noisy minds. Silence is the sound of someone who knows where real control lives inside. 7. The peace of enough. Most anxiety comes from chasing more success, more approval, more certainty. The Stoic practices the art of enough. Seneca said, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. When you stop demanding more control, you realize you already have enough to live wisely, a mind, a breath, a moment, a choice. 8. Gratitude is grounding. When you can't control events, you can always control your focus. Gratitude turns attention from loss to life. Say quietly to yourself, I still have air. I still have time. I still have choice. Gratitude doesn't erase pain. It widens perspective until pain fits inside peace. 9. Becoming the calm center picture. A storm. The center, the eye, is perfectly still while the winds rage around it. That's the Stoic goal, to live at the calm center of your own life. The noise may continue, but you remain unmoved, watching thoughts and events pass like clouds. You no longer try to stop the storm. You stand so firmly rooted that it passes without pulling you out of yourself. 10. Closing reflection. So what do you do when you're not in control? You return to the only control that ever existed, your mind, your actions, your attitude. You act with reason, not panic. You focus on the step, not the staircase. You trade fear for acceptance, control for composure. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That line is the whole map. The more you remember it, the freer you become. Let the world spin. Let outcomes shift. Let uncertainty stay uncertain. You stay still. Because calmness isn't the prize after control. Calmness is control. Thank you.